Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. This is clearly an issue that there's a lot of very different and strong beliefs on both sides. I find it shocking to the conscience that a woman who was repeatedly raped, doesn't even know that they're pregnant, could have the government swooping in to tell them what they can do with their body. And when we know all the challenges often women face just accessing health care at all, we know we are a nation that does not take care of low-income women in particular in terms of their access to health care, and abortion care is health care. It could often be going directly to the life of a woman or a birthing person. I find it difficult when I see people talking about the sanctity of life and what happens to women who do not have adequate care. We're a nation that has one of the highest maternal mortality rates of developed nations, with African American women being 4 times more likely to die in childbirth than white women. It seems stunning to me that there are so many things that we could do that elevate human well-being, that preserve life. We know that women who are afforded health care and family planning have lower rates of unwanted pregnancies. You would say that's a fact, correct?
Yes, indeed.
In fact, Colorado reduced their rate of young women having abortions.
That's correct.
By 40%. Not by attacking women, not by taking away health care, but by giving them more reproductive freedoms. And the stunning thing to me is that we know what would elevate human life and well-being if we invested and empowered women with doula care, with health care, with reproductive freedom, with science-based sex education. Did the Republican majority in Texas consider bills about any of those things that are factually connected to lowering rates of unwanted pregnancies?
Senator, I've had legislation for the past several sessions to ensure that those that are on CHIP can have access to contraceptives in terms of reimbursement, as is done in every other state except one. And I have not been able to get that passed through our legislature.
Can a wealthy woman under this law, a wealthy person in Texas, have access to abortion care?
Yes, sir, she can. She can travel out of state.
Right. So who's most affected by a law like this?
Those that do not have the means, those that have limited means, people of color. The fact is, too, as you point out, significantly more chance of death by carrying a pregnancy than there is by having an abortion, and disproportionately impacts women of color.
So that's what gets me, is if you value life, you're creating an environment where you're putting lives at more risk than other alternatives that are empowering individuals. I recently just spent time doing research about what women are listing who terminate a pregnancy, what reasons they're listing. One of them, depending on the study, is the fact that women are 400% more likely to plunge into poverty. And they mention financial issues. Is there legislation coming out of the Republican majority to help economically empower women of birthing age who choose to have children, or improve the child care system, foster care system, or anything like that?
We have continued to underfund all of the things that you mentioned, and absolutely, to your point, valuing life means valuing the lives of the women who are asked to carry these pregnancies.
So poverty, health care, the kind of health care that shows you from doula care to access to family planning, those things are not being invested in, those things are not being valued. Wealthy folks can get access to this care, but the lives, the dignity, the well-being, the health of low-income women and birthing people, in your opinion, are those, not through rhetoric, but through substantive laws we know could elevate their well-being? Those are the things that are being attended to?
Senator, I'm a lifelong Texan. I love Texas. I am not here to bash Texas. But the fact is that we have a lot of work to do that we haven't been doing. We have the highest number and rate of uninsured in the entire nation. We have refused to expand Medicaid coverage. Half of the births in Texas are to Medicaid moms. We are not investing in those things we need to invest in to support women and their families.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Professor Valek, forgive me. I didn't go to a law school. I went to Yale Law School. I just want to, can you clarify something for me? Because I fully concur that some of my friends on the other side of the aisle are probably better lawyers than me. But my friend, my dear friend, somebody I value quite a bit, Senator Lee, said that the Supreme Court did not have jurisdiction because there was no proper defendant. And I'll take my question with my mic off. I know my time's expired, but could you answer that, please?
Sure, Senator. I mean, I suffer from the same disease of what law school I went to. But I will say, I mean, I think there have been various mischaracterizations from, I think, both witnesses and senators today about what was before the Supreme Court. The providers were not just seeking an injunction against the 8 defendants, at least 2 of whom, I think if we had time, we could talk about why they were entirely proper defendants. The providers were also asking to lift the emergency stay that the Fifth Circuit had imposed that had actually blocked the district court from answering some of the procedural questions that Senator Lee and Professor Mascott have suggested deprive the court of jurisdiction. So I think the story about the SB 8 case, Senator, is a little more complicated. And the notion that the whole matter rose and fell on whether all 8 of the named defendants could be subject to an injunction by the Supreme Court misses all of the different things the providers were asking for short of an emergency injunction, and it also misses the Fifth Circuit's role in provoking the emergency by stopping the district court from holding the hearing it was planning to hold on Monday morning, August 30th, that would have given it a chance to consider those questions, to actually resolve them, to build the very record, the absence of which the majority relied upon in its short ruling.
You have redeemed our alma mater. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.